How is it going, guys? Malagant here. We are going to be looking at my Shockwave Pulverize character. I have finally finished it, and there will be a link in the description down below in this video. You'll be able to find my itemization, my stat priority, most of them at least. You'll be able to find what sort of like aspects I'm running and which slots. You'll be able to find my entire Paragon board. And on top of that, you're going to be able to see the skill distribution as well. So definitely check that link out if you would like to play something like this, or if you would like to compare it to the Pulverize build that you're running 100%. So in this video, instead of going through like every single one of these things, we're going to be talking about like pluses, minuses about the character, and at the same time, perhaps like I'll show some at the end, I'll show some like gameplay as well. That said, what is good about this character is that it's incredibly easy to build up to. So I started on the top right now. I'm going to be linking you another video, which is 1 to 20 under an hour with Druid. If you would like to level a Druid to Pulverize Shockwave, because you're going to need to get to around like level 20, 25, simply because the only thing that is needed for this character is in fact this aspect right over here. So in this season, when you complete the chapter 2 from the seasonal objective, you're already rewarded by Shockwave aspect. And this Shockwave aspect is basically your bread and butter. It's going to be activating your character from that moment and onwards. So until then, I didn't really play with Shockwave. In fact, I didn't really play with Pulverize, let's say. I leveled up with a Tornado and Poison Creeper. And when I got to level 25, I completed the chapter 2. I got my Shockwave aspect. And then I put it onto my necklace, even though you will be seeing it on my weapon most of the time. And in fact, on the weapon, it's incredibly powerful. Necklace, less powerful. But the reason that you want to put it onto the necklace around like level 25 is because in this game, your base damage is scaling from how strong your weapon is. Therefore, every time you have a weapon upgrade, you want to just equip it immediately. And you don't really want to be going to like occultist and putting this, new aspect all the time on it. I don't think you're going to be having the materials for it anyways. So that being said, it's better to find yourself a decentish amulet and then put the Shockwave aspect to it and just stay with it until like level 50, 55. When you feel like you're finding items, that are going to be, staying there for a while, especially the weapon, then you put the Shockwave aspect finally to your two-hander weapon. Obviously, if you choose to play with a two-hander, but I've been playing with a two-hander for the most part. So all that aside, apart from that, like what are the other, really required things? I wouldn't say there's something required, but all of these things are really, really helpful. For instance, this combination of like, making the Pulverize earth, and then you're making every earth a Werebear, and then giving Werebear +3, which I don't really know why, but it says +3, even though it is actually +4, I want to say. So if you come over here on the skill tree, right, we are on 13 out of 5. So if I remove this from my chest, it should in fact be -3, since it says +3. But we're going to go back to the Shockwave right over here, and it's going to say 9. So for some reason, this is like a bug or whatever, but Insatiable Fury is in fact +4. Don't know why, but it's incredibly strong. So this sort of like synergy that like first you're making the Pulverize into earth, and then with the Vasily's Prayer you're making into Werebear, and then you're making every Werebear ability +4 is extremely good, obviously. But is it really necessary to like get the character going? No, you will be able to play Shockwave from the beginning at level 25, and then you'll be searching for these, and that's the fun part of this game, right? You're trying to like get to something, definitely. So that being said, what are like the shiny parts of this character? It is insane when it comes to like packs of monsters. It just like deletes the screen. There's one thing that I should show you. I'm not sure if I have like a decent... Okay, I have an Uldur's K right over here, which is 77. That's a little bit too high for a video like this. 60 would be nice. Nostrava Deepwood. Let's try this one, guys. What is it... Like, what is like the highest tier that I can do right now? I think I can do something like tier 80, tier 85. However, I do take a little bit too much damage, but I do not have the right Malignant Heart that I would like to run. So I will have DPS for the map, for the entire Nightmare Sigil. I'm going to be having Nightmare Dungeon. I'm going to be having the DPS, except the boss. The boss might take a while to kill. So around like level 75 to 80, the bosses start taking a while. So we're going to be opening our ultimates, the Grizzly Rage, right? And then right off the bat, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. And this is one of the mistakes that I have found in multiple different, or I should say something that I very much disagree with in multiple different guides that I've seen from Pulverize as I played. So my character and my build is a little bit different compared to most of the guides that you will see. First of all, it's not going to be running. Why am I still taking... Oh, that's 45 damage. So first of all, I am not running the Malignant Heart called Barber. Barber is insane, but unfortunately it's when Barber procs, and it's going to be proccing every 4 seconds, and then those 4 seconds gaps, you're not going to be having any damage on the mob. So while this is going on, you don't have lucky hit procs anymore, and lucky hit is everything for this character. We're running something called Earth and Might, and you will need to you will need to be able to proc lucky hits pretty much like every single hit. You will need that chance, and Barber is unfortunately closing this. So instead, as you know, you can only run one Wrathful Heart. Instead, we are going to be running this Wrathful Heart over here, which is cycling through either the attack speed or giving you a full resource generation, or it's going to be giving you a little bit of barrier, which is like the most useless one, to be honest with you. Apart from that, the other two Malignant Hearts that we're running is crit damage. And I'm also running something called like this one, another Vicious Heart that is giving me a little bit more damage every 5 seconds by spending a little bit of life of mine. So this is very underwhelming. Don't run this one. In the guide on the down, in the description, the link is not going to be having this. Instead, it's going to be having the 20% damage reduction. I would 100% run that one, just so you know. It's incredibly powerful. It's just right off the bat giving you 20% mitigation to literally everything in the game. It's insanely powerful. I cannot emphasize this enough. So with that, I would be able to do tier level 80, tier level 85 quite easily actually on this character. But then again, I should say that like the single target is going to be lacking a little bit. So that right off the bat is covered. Let's talk about this thing that I wanted to tell. That is also another thing, is that I have seen quite a few guides where they are actually stacking close damage and a glyph called Territorial, which is more close damage. In this character, you don't want to be on the face of your enemy, simply because there is a range where you're capable of actually like double dipping your damage. I do believe that like it's because your Pulverize hits the target and also your Shockwave hits the target. Now, when you're like right next to your monster, or when you're right next to your enemy, right, it's only hitting 1 damage. Like you will be able to see while I'm playing. Just pay attention to the damage numbers with just 1 Pulverize. You'll be able to see with like a certain distance, I am actually having 2 damage numbers come out, and they're hitting as hard as each other. So you're double dipping the damage, and it's incredible actually thanks to that. So because of this, you don't want to be going for close damage, and you don't want to be going for territorial. So that's one of the mistakes that I have done. Instead, you could go distant damage. That's definitely viable. It's not easy to play though. But if you would like to get either close or distant, definitely go for distance every time. Every time. Artillery is absolutely insane. For the sake of the video, let's not take that, okay? It is just absolutely insane. It feels so much fun to play with artillery on this character. Like, I have played a sorcerer and a barbarian before this. Obviously, artillery is like definitely strong on those two. But with this bear, when you get the artillery, it is just absolutely bonkers. Don't know why. Let's try to find something strong. A couple of elites, maybe.
I'm not ready yet.
Yeah, I have already mentioned that the character is like very easy to play. It's incredibly tanky, to be perfectly honest with you. At any point of the game, I didn't get any help. I have always like played a self-found, no trading, not even with my stream. My levels that I have transitioned to World Tier 3 was 42, and then World Tier 4 was like 58 or something. So like very, very early transitions as well. It was like really satisfying when it comes like when it comes to the amount of like experience I started generating from that moment. So yeah, if you want to like check it out, you're going to be seeing double the damage coming out of like every single one of these enemies, just because of like the way that I position my character, right? So another thing that we are going to be talking about before I finalize this video is going to be the aspect of umbral. That is another big difference that I have on my build. So I'm not gonna say that like I'm gonna suggest you to not run it, but I have decided to not run it. Definitely, this character doesn't take any damage. Interesting. So the reason that I'm not running it is because like when you stack enough lucky hit chance, which is like incredibly important for this character, and then on top of that the malignant heart that I have, which on one cycle is like having another chance of basically generating me back to like full spirit. I felt like you don't necessarily need more spirit regeneration, especially for packs of monsters on your screen. So I do lack spirits every now and then. Don't get me wrong, I do lack it. Even like while you're watching me right now, you'll probably see me like left clicking to generate a little bit of spirit. But that only happens when we have a single target on my screen, and when we're attacking like a single target. You know, it's like a one-on-one fight basically. So is Umbral gonna fix that? There's no way that Umbral is definitely not going to be fixing that problem. It's for like masses. So what does it do is that like for every CC that you have cast, you're going to be gaining 4 spirits back. So you will need to like CC an AoE screen so that you can get the entire Pulverize cost back to you, right? That's literally how it is. Pulverize cost right now is 30, and I have very good gear. I have a lot of resource cost reduction. So normally it's like 35 or something, I want to say. Let's open the ultimate here, another Grizzly Rage. Try to get some high crits, 5 million crits right there. So yeah, I'm not running the Umbral. Instead, we are running something called the Accelerating, which is core skill crits are giving me attack speed, up to 25% attack speed for 5 seconds or something. And attack speed feels absolutely amazing with this character, honestly. That's also why. So I was thinking like, you know, single target, I have an issue with this spirit. Okay, but Umbral is not going to be changing that whatsoever. So I might as well not run it. But as I said, it is heavily suggested in multiple different guides. So perhaps, at the very least, if you're having a very hard time with your spirits, you know, perhaps check that out. But apart from that, let's talk about like how do we control our spirits a little bit. You know, it's a little bit of a combination of pretty much like everything. It's a combination of like resource cost reduction, first of all. It's another combination of like generating from your left click, of course, the earth spike. And on top of that, there's going to be, you know, the bread and butter, as we talked about earlier, the earthen might, which is very important. The earthen might is a lucky hit, so you're going to need to stack lucky hits to have like more earthen might procs. The earthen might, basically when it procs, is generating you back to full spirit. So therefore maximum spirit is a little bit important as well, but not so much. So if you have a little bit of like maximum spirit from like Paragon board, or like perhaps a skill, perhaps an item that is not necessarily bis yet, it is still useful. So all these things combined, when you're like, you know, attacking masses, you're going to be having a lucky hit proc from the earthen might, and you will go back to full most of the time. That's why I didn't want to run Umbral anyways. But on top of that, on a single target, you're gonna usually find yourself, you know, left clicking a little bit. Then comes the importance of like generating more fury as well. So if you're having a hard time with that one, you might want to consider taking abundance instead of, especially like on the early game content where you don't really need the vigilance. You gain damage reduction 6 seconds after using a defensive skill. Instead of the vigilance, you can definitely go for abundance. With the patch that is going to be hitting very shortly, actually in about like 5 days from now, our fury generation is going to be, I said fury, but spirit generation is going to be increased as well. So abundance is going to be multiplying it even more. So therefore you will have like even more spirits when you left click with the earth spike, or whichever left click you're running before finding your unique item over here, the Werbear item. So all that being said, this is how you spirits play, pretty much. Like you need the resource generation, you need the resource cost reduction, you need to left click a little bit here and there, And you need to aim your Pulverize towards the masses. Try not to like aim it towards the single targets on your screen, so that you not only, you know, hit the most amount of enemies, but at the same time you have the highest chance of like generating back to full immediately. But these things that I'm talking about, like even though it's taking like 2 minutes, the character is ridiculously easy to play. And left click, it generates, you know, even without the abundance, it generates quite a bit of like spirit. As you can see, like I'm hitting absolutely insane. This is a tier 60 almost. I think that we completed tier 59, yeah. So we had multiple multiple procs right there with this spirit. And I was saying the left click, even though like it's quite nice for the spirit gain, it's also quite nice for the stun chance, by the way. It has like a very, very high stun chance. Like incredibly high stun chance. Where is the protector that's protecting this guy? Am I blind? Oh, right there. Okay. Cheeky. So, if you have any questions whatsoever about the Pulverize Druid, please feel free to comment, and I'll do my best to answer you. At the same time, I stream every single day on twitch.tv/Malagant. Please drop by. I would definitely like you to. So, I think this is going to be it. If there's going to be a follow-up video, I'll make one more. Thank you for watching. Peace out, guys.